Thank you so much for joining me here today and agreeing to do this interview, Amber.
Yeah,
I
of course.
I wanted to first ask you a little bit about how do you define yourself online in this creative space?
Mm, the label is social influencer. So I'm definitely a social influencer. I would say I'm an activist. I host different events, things like that. And a lot of people know me from YouTube. I would say I'm one of the old school YouTubers.
Cool.
Yeah.
So where can you tell me a little bit about where you're originally from? Like where did you grow up?
I grew up partly in Texas, partly in Sacramento, and also LA. My upbringing was all over the place. So we grew up in Texas for a couple of years, the first bunch of years of my life, and then we did school in Sacramento. And since my dad was split between Houston and LA, we were in LA every other weekend. We spent our whole summer in Houston. So literally each city is home for me.
Very cool. And
Yeah.
so are you like located more in LA right now or?
Yeah, I'm LA now. Yeah, I go to Houston sometimes. I never go back to Sacramento.
Okay, there's no reason to.
There's nothing there for me except for my friends, but I'll do it once a year maybe.
Yeah, cool. And so I kind of wanted to shift focus to the YouTube channel since that's kind of what you're known for. How did you get started in YouTube? Like, a lot of people struggle with, identity, and that's something I know that you kind of talk about a lot on your channel. Like, what made you decide to talk about it in that space?
Right. Well, I started YouTube on accident. My sister was doing it for years and I was kind of making fun of her. And then when I did a video with her, it was a sister tag video, and people were able to see that we were very opposite. And people were just asking me in the comments, they're like, oh my God, she should start a channel. And so when I went to go look at YouTube, I wasn't seeing anyone that looked like me. I wasn't really seeing any gay people, any people of color. And so I was like, all right, let me start this. And at first, I didn't think that I was going to be out and talk about my gayness. I literally was just like, I'm just going to be this person. I'm just going to try something new. But over time, I realized that I was only one of a few that was a woman of color and queer online. And so I really started, like, after I started to get emails of people saying, oh my God, thank you. You really helped me. You're saving my life. Like, I realized that I was representation that people weren't able to get in traditional media. And so therefore I kept it going and tried to create videos that I wish that I had growing up, because I wish that I can go and Google my queerness and somebody could pop up and tell me everything that I needed to know. Like, it would have really helped me out. And I probably would have came out of the closet a lot faster and made that process easier. So now I want to make that process easier for someone else.
That's awesome. That's really important too, that you saw that and you not only just recognized it, but actually did something to sort of change that. So really appreciate it. Uh,
Thanks.
and then kind of shifting focus from that, how important is it for you to show others who you are in the real world, like having that real world, representation? Because there's so many different television shows and stuff that may poke at the surface, but in YouTube, it's different. It's your life and showing like who you are. Like, how important is that to you?
I think it's extremely important, but even online, you can still get people that are unauthentic or put up a facade. So you never know. But I think because I saw a lot of that early on YouTube, I wanted to be as authentic as possible and be an open book. And so I showed parts of my life for years that I could have preserved. I could have just kept for me, but I just also felt like if I'm going to be representation, if I want to help people, I need to be as open as possible so that people can understand, like, this is real life and what real life, like, lesbians or queer people go through. And so I wanted to be open. I wanted to share everything. And yeah, I felt like that was necessary and needed, because I want to be like somebody's big bro sis. I want them to know, like, oh, whatever Amber says, she's got my back, she's got good intentions, like she's really trying to help me out. And yeah, I know that it's literally coming from a real authentic place and it's real love. And That's something that they can trust. You know, I want people to be able to trust me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm.
And so I talked about, real world representation, but I kind of want to frame it in, light of the LGBTQ community. Like, how important was it for you to make sure that your audience knew that they were queer ahead of time? Like, because a lot of people can talk,
Oh yeah,
in this,
right.
not actually like come out and actually show like, hey, like I'm also part of this community. Like, was that something that you wanted to hit early on? Like, I know you mentioned that
Yeah,
you,
I hit it. Yeah, I hit it really early on. I would say that I did videos for like a couple months before I put out my coming out video, or then I just started talking about me having a girlfriend. I think I dabbled in that and saying, oh, I have a girlfriend, da da da. And by the time I made a coming out video, I didn't even come out to like my whole family or all my friends or anything. I did it in little like spurts here and there for a couple of years. And then I just said, and I put it all over the internet in a coming out video. And I think because one day I finally woke up and I was like, why do I care about other people's opinions so much that it held me back from being my true authentic self for years? And when I got to that point, I was so upset at myself for caring about people that weren't paying my bills or laying next to me or helping me make my life decisions. And I was like, why do I care about what they think? Let me just do me and be happy. And so when I came out of the closet, I exploded. And when I exploded, there was no looking back. And so, yeah, I felt like it was very necessary. But at the same time, I also think that I'm very much a walking rainbow. And I think that I like exude queerness, but I don't know, just in case, I just wanted to make it known. And so I would talk about the label that I found for myself, which I don't really use now because I don't feel like labels are as necessary as I did back then when I was really trying to get people to understand who I was. And so I really was like wanting to shout, hey, I'm a lesbian, hey, I'm a STEM all the time so that people knew like I'm here for this like group. If you want to come through, like what's up, you know? And yeah, so I really wanted to make it a point. And yeah, I feel like that all the time. So even if I'm walking down the street now, I'm sure everybody's like, oh, there goes that lesbian right there. Like, and I'm fine with that too.
yeah, very cool. So saying that, was there any problems that you ran into being so open about your, queer identity or LGBT, being a part of the LGBTQ community?
I mean, yeah, I mean, first of all, we have to do better at supporting each other in our community. So, yes, I did get a lot of other lesbians hating on me, which is crazy because we should be supporting and uplifting each other. And that's what I also want to give off to people too. Like every new creator or people that come up to me, I want to do whatever I can to help because people don't realize like there's room for all of us and we need as much voices and as much representation as possible. And then so that's within the community, but then being open and online to public, yeah, I got a lot of homophobic people, which were mostly religious people that were probably mad that I'm able to live my life, and they were probably questioning their sexuality growing up. So then in turn they get even more mad at people that are able to live it, and then they're the ones that are like talking shit on the internet. Yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like majority of really extremely homophobic people question their sexuality at one point in time and then they're just mad. So that's how I view them. And so I more so feel bad for them. So a lot of times, like early on, I would reply back and I would really just try to help because they can get mad at my videos all they want, but they're the ones that came on here and watched it. So there was something interesting here for them. And so I just see it like that. I don't even get upset at online hate anymore.
No, that makes total sense because they
Yeah.
go out of their way to
Out
find
of their
you
way.
and comment and like, know what you were talking about in order to engage. So
They're
it's
so mad. And I'm so happy. Like, what's happening here, you know?
so funny.
Mm,
Yeah, and so I guess going from, that part of YouTube to just like the uncertainty part of YouTube, where we're in this age where everybody is like has a side hustle or, they're like doing stuff in this gig economy. Like,
mm.
what made you confident enough to pursue a career in YouTube and tell people that you're like a content creator?
Ooh, Wow, that's a story. Okay. I was doing it for fun, and I was doing it for like a couple years before I realized you can even make money from it. That's number one. And then, so that was never my intention at the beginning. I was just like, need to put out videos, need, people to see it, whatever, whatever. And then, and then I came to a fork in the road where my last corporate job found out I did YouTube, and they pretty much gave me this ultimatum, and I chose me. I was like, oh, excuse you. Even though I wasn't making money from YouTube at the time, I was really scared, like really scared at what was going to happen. I had to go for it because I couldn't allow people to try to silence my voice. Right. So anyways, I left that job and had no, yeah, I just had to dive into it and see what was going to happen, because I literally left my job because of that. So anyways, I dove in, I realized you can make money from it. And so I started, once I quit my job, I was able to be more consistent and actually grow pretty fast. And then I was like, oh, I can make a decent living off of it. I wasn't thinking that was going to be my only job, that's for sure. But then over time, when I was getting other opportunities and I felt like it was more important to make sure I was putting out as many videos as possible, then yeah, it became a job. And over time, more opportunities and brand deals and stuff came with it. It's not the easiest because it's inconsistent, but obviously being able to make a living off of your true authentic self is awesome. And to be a voice for a community that needs as many voices as possible to support and uplift it, and raise hell when we need support or when we need policy change, that it's really important. So I'm glad I can just be a voice out of many, and be able to do what I do. I literally think, like, have a moment of appreciation and gratitude every single day. And I include that I feel honored to be able to have a platform to even like share my feelings. So it's amazing.
Yeah, no, that not a lot of people can say that they can comfortably do that. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's hard. So y'all, I just want you to know, like, some people get lucky and do really well, but I chose to not go that route. Like, there's times where they're like, Amber, if you just do this and you change up who you are, you can be, more marketable and you can make this money doing this. And I never was doing this for money to begin with. So that's not what drives me. And I just want to make sure that I'm authentic. So there's so many times where they try to rip some authenticity from me, or try to tell me not to speak out about like racial injustice or, equality or human rights. But no, I chose to be me. So I did choose a little bit harder route, because for years I was not advertisable, and they would take money from me from all my videos I was doing because of my sexuality or because I was talking about hard subjects. So it was hard for me to survive if it wasn't for brands that supported me. It was hard for years because YouTube demonetized a lot of my content. It's different now, but I chose that harder route, and it ended up coming back full circle for me, because now those are things that brands are looking for. And those are things that YouTube wants to advertise on, because of, the atmosphere changing and people being woke and caring more about things that are happening in the world. So it's a little bit easier now, but it was hard for like at least 3.5, 4 years. I was barely making it out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See the YouTube space sort of progressing even more towards, inviting other communities in? Like, I know in the beginning you were able to upload whatever, but now that they're cracking down kind of on like what you can and can't upload. Like, how do you see YouTube sort of developing in the future?
Yeah, they had to make a lot of changes. And I think one of the biggest changes, like over time, because a lot of people were coming on the platform, then there was a lot of negative content on the platform, then advertisers were mad. And so that's the shift I saw. At the beginning, YouTube was a place for people to just put up videos. Then when they started making it so you can make money, they started trying to limit as much as they could, but not much, because they wanted to make it a free space. Now, YouTube forgot for a couple years that the reason why their platform got popular in the first place was queer and Black people, like because people were flooding to YouTube to see representation, like I said, that they weren't seeing on television. So that's what made YouTube popular. And then when they became an solidified advertising company, when they started having ads on videos and started worrying about their advertisers more than their creators, it created this shift where all of a sudden, all those people, those queer and Black people that made this platform amazing, were starting to get hurt because all these filters were coming in saying, hey, because of your sexuality, we got to demonetize this. Because of your Blackness, we have to demonetize this. Like that was real stuff happening. And so I feel like they had to figure out a balance on how do we support these creators that made this platform popular in the first place, and how do we please our advertisers? So they were trying to find a balance for years, and I think they're starting to understand now. And now they have initiatives like YouTube Black and YouTube Latina and YouTube Asian to support these small communities that are very necessary to have on the platform. So I think, yeah, I don't know. It's been hard. I would say YouTube and I have an abusive relationship, but you know, I don't know. I don't want to not post on there because I did build a significant following. And so even when times were rough, I still wanted to keep it up. And just so people know, I was actually paying for the last couple years. It changed this like maybe 6 months ago for me. But for a couple years before that, if you saw content of mine on YouTube, I was paying to do that. Wow. I wasn't making money from it. I was actually paying my editor. So YouTube was costing me money a month unless I got like a brand deal that kind of balanced me out. So that shift and that change just happened more recently for me. So for the past couple of years, it was something that I was investing in because I felt like it was necessary to keep up something I built.
Yeah. Wow.
Instagram was supporting me, so I was making money there. So I was trying to, do what I can on YouTube to keep it going.
Wow. Yeah. A lot of people don't really, see that side of things, like know that sometimes you're not going to get that YouTube money coming in every month. That you kind of have to be a little bit more smart and on your toes a bit about like where income's coming from. So yeah.
I think it was different for me because I've been on the platform for a while, and I had some videos demonetized, and they very much knew what my platform was. But for new people, I think it's very different for starting pages. I just know that it's harder to grow on YouTube than it used to be. So I would say to new creators, like, don't get caught up on numbers and don't worry about what people are saying. Just try to be as consistent and authentic as you can, and just be patient and allow yourself to grow, because people will see other creators and they're like, oh my God, they have 1 million. But like literally like 1,000 people is a lot of people. Like 10,000 people is a lot of people. So don't get caught up on comparing and contrasting to everybody else, because everybody's unique, has something else to bring, to the community. So I would think about your niche too, and make sure that you understand that. Like, I know that I'm not for everybody. I'm not trying to hit 1 million. And I don't think that like, oh my God, I'm not going to make an impact if I don't have 1 million. I know that I'm specific, right? So if you think about it in that way, and like what you're bringing, and zone in on that, and just making sure that like you're making impact in whatever that is, then that's all you should focus on. So to my new creators.
And I wanted to get to the audience questions that we pulled from our social media accounts. They responded to something that we left in our Instagram stories. The first question was, how is your relationship with social media? Like, is it a good, positive relationship? Or do you have to like keep things separated? Like, how do you deal with things on the internet?
Each of my platforms are very different. I love my Instagram people. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I have some grown in sexy people on there. Like, they really hear me and they support like what I'm saying when I talk about really deep stuff, or if I'm being goofy and things like that. So I think more so I have a good relationship with people. Like I try to talk back to people, and yeah, I feel supported because like I was saying, I'm not trying to put content out there just to grow. And that's not my goal. It's just to get my numbers up. I just want to have like a solid, you know, like following of people that support and uh, really like hear what I'm saying or need what I'm saying or whatever it is, and just support others that are doing the same. Like that's my main goal. So, you know, there could be some haters on there, especially when I talk about politics, but that doesn't even faze me. So I love my people. So like that's why I like to host parties in real life so I can go and hug people. I know it's different nowadays, but like literally like um it's just I don't know, it's inspiration. Like I love meeting other people and they're like, "Oh yeah, you helped me come out to my family and da da da." Like it helps drive me and it makes me remember like, "Oh, this is why I'm doing it and this is why I want to push for other people to be a voice so they can do that same thing for others and we can just be, you know, be a bigger supportive and loving community for each other."
Yeah, I know it's super important. The second question that the audience asked was, how do you deal with mental health and, you know, in the public eye? Like, how do you, you know, keep things together and keep sane?
I know, right? Like, listen, this is a thing I'm trying to do all the time. Like, I'm trying to find balance at all times. When people ask me, they're like, "Hey, Amber, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm good. I'm finding balance," because it's a roller coaster. Things are inconsistent. I think for me, and because I try to be more intentional with my content now than I used to be. So I am very like, "Ugh, how are people going to receive it?" Way more than I used to be. And that's only because I want to make sure that I'm making a positive impact and not hurting anyone in any type of way. But yeah, I have to take breaks. Like there are times when I'm just like, nope, and I got to check out and I need to check back in with me and see what I need and just make sure I'm filling my cup. Because that's the thing too, is a lot of people that are for the people or a face or a voice or whatever, we're often pouring out of our own cup and not filling it up enough. And we need to make sure that we're refilled and we're recharged, because then we have nothing to give, or then what we give we're not going to be happy with, right? Because it's pouring from the empty cup instead of being filled and having more substance with it. So I definitely have to pull back sometimes and make sure my cup is filled. And there are a couple things that I keep from my social media nowadays, which has helped me keep my sanity, and which is something new for me. Like I don't share my relationship stuff anymore. And it's more so because unless I'm getting married to someone, I think I might keep it to myself. But also, I used to talk about it a lot, and so now I reel that back, and it feels good to keep something for myself.
No, that's good. That's positive. I like that.
Yeah, thanks.
And then, we, well, going off of, you know, those different aspects of YouTube and just navigating that career, what advice do you have for especially those young queer people of color who want to enter into, you know, the YouTube space and become a content creator?
Yeah, exactly what I was saying earlier. Do it. We need more representation. We need people to give their experiences, because you never know who will land on it and who will find it relatable and whose lives you can save, like literally lives you can save. And so, yeah, do you be authentic, try to be as consistent as possible. And like I said, don't compare and contrast yourself to other people and don't get caught up on numbers, and do it. Find others to collab with. And, you know, I feel like people coming together really, it really catches people's eye, and they love to see it. So if you can collab with people, definitely do that.
Good advice.
Yeah.
You know, just because Pride Month is pretty much here, how do you show pride in the work that you do? Or
Mm.
what does pride mean to you, I guess?
Oh, wow. Pride means self-love, self-confidence, not being afraid to show your true authentic self to the world. It means feeling free and being able to love without limits. I think that's definitely what pride means to me. And just, yeah, and being proud to be you. And wait, what was the second part?
I was asking, like, how do you show pride in the work that you do in your life's work? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think exactly that. I mean, at all times, like I just want to give off self-love and self-confidence because like I said, it took me a while to love that part of myself. And now that I do, like I'm not gonna allow anybody else to make me feel differently. So I try to express that and put that out all the time, so that people see that that's how we should be and that's how we should feel about ourselves. And I try to touch on subjects that I think are relatable and necessary for, you know, people in our community and what they may need to like feel supported or not have to feel alone, but also what we need to educate ourselves and be better humans, for ourselves, our loved ones, and the community. So I try to give that off as much as possible because I think it's very important.
That's perfect. Those are all the questions that I have for you today. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talking with me. So thanks
Yeah,
again.
of course. Happy Pride, everybody.
Was there anything that you wanted to share with the audience watching this? Like anything that you wanted to promote?
What date does this come out?
This is the 4th of June. Yes.
Hmm. I do have a show coming out on BET on June 3rd.
Oh, oh.
But I'll be just doing, oh, I am doing Youth Pride. Okay, I'll just say a couple things. Happy Pride, everybody. Make sure you follow me on social media, Amber's Closet. I do have a show coming out called A Love Tale where I am a gay character on BET. So make sure you check that out. And I will be hosting New York Pride and doing stuff for LA Pride. Just watch out. There's a lot of Pride content coming your way. So happy Pride Month, everyone. Stay amazing, stay proud, and stay woke. Peace.
Awesome. Thank you.